ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds? Darrin McBreen put together a 5-minute report that's extremely powerful that we only aired part of at the start of the broadcast today. I want to air the whole thing now here for radio and TV viewers. If you're a radio listener, you want to go to Infowars.com/show where you can see the free video feed because it's very powerful to see these congressional testimony pieces, news clips. Now, I want to warn folks, some of the footage is graphic and is violent, but it's documentary in nature. And then we'll go to Jared, Rambo, Joe, and others. Then we've got Harry Dent joining us, who is, again, excellent financial analyst. He predicted a couple years ago on the show that it would be deflation that got us, not inflation. And he predicted the oil going down, the demographic cliff, all of it. It's now happening. So he's going to be joining us, and we'll take your phone calls in the second half of the interview. But here's one of the most powerful pieces that Darrin McBreen has put out so far, of many powerful pieces. We're blessed to have such a great crew of people like Jakari Jackson and Darrin McBreen and Rob Dew and John Bound and so many others, Rob Jacobson, the list goes on, that put out these video montage reports. So here is one right now, the bloody laundry of the CIA.
I appeared before the Congressional Committee, the highest representation of the American people, under subpoena to tell what I knew of activities which I believe might lead to an attempt to set up a fascist dictatorship.
Does America owe its edge in military technology to Nazi war criminals brought here after World War II?
The truth is that thousands of former Nazis, some of whom committed atrocities, went to work for the United States government.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks? This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
We're really talking about intelligence at the highest levels of the U.S. government, setting the broad direction for the nation.
Have you brought with you some of those devices which would have enabled the CIA to use this poison for,
We have indeed,
for killing people?
But also the toxin itself would not appear in the autopsy?
yes.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
If you've been anywhere near a television set or a radio these past few hours, you already know that John Lennon of the Beatles is dead. He was shot late this evening in front of his apartment building in New York City.
Despite evidence that Noriega was involved in drug trafficking, Bush kept Noriega on the payroll.
We interrupt your regular programming to tell you of a plane crash in northeastern Minnesota, where we have just had confirmed a short while ago 8 people were killed on a small beach aircraft that was on its way to Eveleth, Minnesota, including Senator Paul Wellstone of Minnesota. And according to the senior staff in the senator's office, not only the senator, but his wife Sheila, his daughter, 3 members of his staff, and the 2 pilots.
The CIA has been and is now completely out of control.
The accusation is that drugs are being sold by the Contras and that the CIA knew about it and didn't do anything.
Shots fired. These are the agents immediately driving after the assailant. There are 2 or 3 people down on the ground.
An assassination attempt. The president was hit, but pushed immediately into the limousine and rushed to the hospital.
William Colby has been missing since April 27. His canoe was found washed up on the banks of the Wicomico River April 28.
He's missing and presumed drowned.
The United States tonight declared in effect that Panama's General Manuel Noriega is a threat to this country's national security.
When George Bush became director of the CIA in 1976, he inherited Noriega as a contact.
When you read these outrageous charges by a drug-related, indicted dictator, discount them. They are total lies.
In 1976, Flight 455, which took off from Venezuela bound for Cuba, suddenly exploded. All 73 passengers and 5 crew members aboard died after the plane crashed near Barbados. Four of the terrorists were found to be Latin Americans contracted by the U.S. One of the attack's masterminds, Posada Capriles, currently lives freely in Miami.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
I will tell you, Director Deutsch, as a former Los Angeles police narcotics detective, that the agency has dealt drugs throughout this country for a long time.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th.
The numbers about potential civilian casualties, I take with a somewhat big grain of salt. Let us bomb these places.
What does that make Hillary Clinton to the Bush family?
My sister-in-law.
I love Bill Clinton.
J.P. Morgan.
Watching that is frightening. And, of course, the CIA is just one of the big agencies involved in all this. And it's been former CIA people that have been the most outspoken about it. And the road to perdition has been paved by the statement that, well, the end justifies the means. That they started doing all this evil stuff to fight the Nazis under OSS and then the Russians under CIA. But at the same time, the very robber barons running this country that founded the CIA in 1947 were the ones putting the communists in power, and that's declassified. Just like they helped create the radical Islamicists and gave them bases and weapons. And when they'd been defeated after a 14-year war, they gave them new bases. And now they're worse than ever and have, quote, metastasized. And we're going to get attacked, and we got to give our rights up when it happens. No one will go to the New York Times or care that it's even admitted that the government's hatching most of the terror plots. Or people will say, what are you doing? Endorsing radical Islam, saying it doesn't exist? I didn't say that. I said our criminal government is arming them, aiding and abetting them, protecting them to attack and kill us so they can take our freedoms. That's what I said.
Never water yourself down just because someone can't handle you at 100 proof. It's the Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Glenn Beck, and everybody else that runs around claiming that I'm saying there aren't any real Muslim terrorists. That's a load of crud, and you know it.